रखती है।
All right, viewers, with that, we'll move on to a big breaking news coming in connection to the India-China border row. Now, it appears that an arrangement has been agreed upon by India and China on patrolling at the line of actual control. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misra has issued a statement, and he says that as a result of the discussions that have been taken place over the last several weeks, an arrangement has been arrived upon on the patrolling along the line of actual control in the India-China border, and this is leading to disengagement and eventually a resolution of the issues that have arisen in these areas in 2020. So MEA making a big announcement on the disengagement between India and China at Ladakh. Foreign Secretary Vikram Misra making the announcement. India and China have agreed upon an arrangement and understanding on border patrolling in Ladakh. It's a big breakthrough that's coming in ahead of the BRICS summit in Russia, and just a day before Prime Minister Modi departs for the BRICS summit. Big statement coming in by the Ministry of External Affairs. India and China disengagement talks in Ladakh have proceeded, and both countries have arrived upon an arrangement on patrolling along the line of actual control in Ladakh. Let's go to Abhishek Kapoor, Senior Executive Editor, joining us from the newsroom. Abhishek, a very good afternoon to you. Now, this is a big announcement, really, after how many rounds of dialogues between the two nations. Finally, an agreement has been agreed upon, and just a day ahead of Prime Minister's visit for the BRICS summit in Russia.
Well, what we are getting to understand is this is through an announcement made by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misra while he was briefing media about Prime Minister's upcoming visit to participate in the BRICS Leaders Summit in Kazan, Russia, which begins tomorrow. And what we are understanding is that a breakthrough has been achieved insofar as patrolling arrangements go. Remember, there was a stalemate between the two sides as to for what distance the two can carry out their patrolling. And in fact, there were reports that the Chinese are not letting us go to the patrolling points which we were earlier accessing before the 2020 Galwan clash and the subsequent standoff that's been there since then. But now it seems, at least so far as the patrolling arrangements are concerned, the patrolling points up to which earlier our forces were going, that is going to resume, and that's a big development in the ongoing freeze that was there in India-China relationship because of the standoff, military standoff in Ladakh after the Galwan clash, Kriti. So this seems like a thaw building up. We don't know whether this is going to be temporary, but what is important is that this happens just a day before Prime Minister leaves to participate in the BRICS summit, and there is likelihood of Prime Minister meeting President Xi Jinping on the sidelines, which means that perhaps this is coming with instructions from the top to the respective bureaucracies to thrash out a deal so that the two leaders can meet. Hopefully, once that meeting happens, further talks for fast-tracking disengagement between the troops also would be happening. What we know is that almost 3 divisions plus, which means about 50,000 troops of India, and then similar numbers from the Chinese side, they are in a mirror-to-mirror position and face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball in that border. And this is massive mobilization that was effected on the ground subsequent to the Galwan clash of 2020. And while disengagement happened at least 4 major flashpoints, the forces remained. Let's listen to exactly what Vikram Misra, the Foreign Secretary, has said.
The agreement that has been reached, let me restate what I said earlier. I think what I've said speaks for itself and is fairly clear. There has been, you're aware of the events that took place in 2020 in several areas along the line of actual control. We've been in discussions with Chinese interlocutors, both at a diplomatic level, through the WMCC, as was mentioned earlier as well, and through at the military level as well, through meetings of the military commanders at various levels. These discussions have...
Okay, so it's clear that this is an understanding or an agreement reached insofar as border patrolling arrangements go, and that's because even patrolling was not happening to the traditional patrolling points up to which our soldiers, particularly of the itbp, would be traveling by foot. And it seems that that understanding has been reached. Remember, just last month we had External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar mentioning that almost 75% of the issues have been sorted insofar as India-China border standoff is concerned. We have, in fact, Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla joining us over the phone. Very good afternoon to you, sir. That's a big announcement. You say, would you say that that India and China have reached border patrolling arrangements or agreement just ahead of the BRICS summit, where possibly Prime Minister and President Xi Jinping might meet?
So it's a very positive development because both sides have been working towards this goal. There have been a very significant number of meetings at the level of military commanders and diplomatic level. And the fact that today we can have an agreement on patrolling, so both disengagement and of course later demobilization of troops along the front line, I think would be a very positive step. You have to remember that China had massed a lot of troops in violation of earlier agreements along the border in western Ladakh. And the sooner we have, these troops leave the area on both sides, I think the better it would be in terms of ensuring peace and tranquility on our border areas with China.
Sir, you think that coming as it does just ahead of the BRICS summit, this would have had a nod coming in from the top and instructions to the respective bureaucracies to thrash out an agreement?
No, I would not necessarily link it, but the fact that this agreement comes before the BRICS summit is itself a positive development, and it provides a more positive dynamics as far as the BRICS discussions are concerned, as far as the, let's say, talks that would take place on the sidelines of BRICS. I don't know if there is a meeting scheduled between the Prime Minister and President of China, but the fact of the matter is that this agreement possibly paves the way for, a sort of either a pull aside or a separate bilateral meeting in the margins of the BRICS summit.
So one more question before I let you know. Nobody understands the nitty-gritties of the dialogue, the conversation, the talks that were happening to thrash out agreement and to ultimately lead to disengagement. We had External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar mentioning about 75% issues having been sorted last month. You think that with whatever development has taken place today and announced by the Foreign Secretary, we are looking forward to a momentum going forward, and possibly complete disengagement could also be happening between the two sides?
Yes, that is the goal. The goal is to reach 100%, let's say, agreement on the outstanding issues that were a result of, Chinese attempts at multiple translations in 2020. At that time, I was Foreign Secretary, and I know how much, we stood our ground at that time. And government made sure that we did not yield to any pressures to normalize relations unless and until this issue was totally resolved. And I'm happy to say that the agreement that is now being reached probably indicates that both sides have had satisfaction out of the negotiations. As I said, for 20 rounds at the military commander level and very significant number of rounds at the diplomatic level have led to this agreement, besides high-level engagement at the level of the External Affairs Minister and the NSA. So I think this is a very positive sign, because the last thing you want is tension on your border. And if we can possibly replicate this model along the line of actual control in every area that there is, such a tension, then I think the situation will become considerably easier on our land border.
Right. Thank you so much with that perspective. Thank you so much. Harshvardhan Shringla there, former Foreign Secretary of India, speaking to us on the latest development, which is an announcement by the present Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri that an understanding has been reached between India and China. Okay, we have Major Siva